What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. Today we got to talk about a lot of events. I'm going to cover the 2x drop rate, what happened with the buff, can we expect it anytime soon, and then I want to go over a lot of the recent patch notes that just came out, as well as some other stuff that is not listed that you need to be aware of. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it, guys. Here we go with the limited time events here, and the reason we want to look at this is, one, I think Etheria is doing a great job of just reoccurring events, and there's some really good ones coming back, like the Cubic game. I know some of y'all were a big fan of that. Me personally, I like the Shell story. Not a big fan of the current train event. Let me know what you guys think of that. I feel like it's a little too difficult, and the cards are maybe a little too much RNG. But overall, I've been very happy with the events, and I can't wait for some of these new ones to come out, as well as some reoccurring favorites. For me, the Shell story was so dang good for the rewards, including the extra stabilizers, the energy. Next up, we have the summon events, and I'll talk about these two. There's going to be more info on that on the other page we bring up. But the important thing to look at here, guys, is the dates that are running here. So we have dates that go all the way up until July 3rd with this reoccurring Shell story, Event 5. And this kind of covers the entire month of June. And if you weren't aware, this is where Etheria is going to list all the buffs, all the events, including the buff drop event, right? That double of the Animus, the double of the GP outpost, and the double of the, which one's the last one? The module drops, right? The very important, like you can get double gear. Unfortunately, though, it seems like it's not listed here. And I'm sorry, guys. I know I was telling you about that event and how we should save stabilizers for it if it happens. But I think I always referenced that it was not a for sure thing. And it seems like Etheria deems it not ready to be released just yet. Maybe they think it's going to accelerate progress too much. Who knows? But what this tells us is that there's probably not going to be one in the entire month of June, and at least up into this early July 3rd area. After that, who knows? It's anyone's game. But what that means for you guys is you could start using some stabilizers now. No need to hardcore hoard them. But overall, it's not a big deal if you were saving. You didn't really fall too much behind compared to people that spent a lot of stabilizers. Instead, what you could do now, guys, is use some to either hit those important milestones, like if you guys are level 35, almost hitting 40, that's a big milestone, as well as 40 going into 45, you get the Hoyan event, or sorry, the Hoyan Shell Boss, which has the next set of those really, really good shells. And then at 40, of course, you have that Ethernet Rally. If you guys didn't know, it's a new mode that requires 3 teams and has some very good rewards as well as more energy. But let's go ahead and jump now over to the next page here. And last thing I want to say is, yeah, don't worry about saving too many stabilizers until at least, we hit in the end of June up into July. Instead, feel free to use some here and there. I don't think they're going to surprise us with anything. And if they do, hopefully they announce it ahead of time. Once we start hitting the July area, maybe start, thinking about saving a bit just in case one of those big drop event, the double bonus event happens. Next up, though, this is a very important one. We have the patch notes that happened just very recently, June 12th. And they went live on the 13th, so this morning. Overall, we're going to go over all of this, and I'm going to talk about some important stuff, as well as some stuff that is not listed here that is very important as well. The Holden and Hoyan releases are coming out. I think both of these characters look insane. If you want my personal take, I do think Holden might be slightly better. It really depends. He might need some heavy gold lattice investment, and his base speed isn't the best. But I think his kit is really nice. It has like a AoE strip in terms of removing buffs. So if you're missing like a Heinrich, you're missing a powerful Dispeller, I think he could be key. And as well as he has like high defense, making him a very strong bruiser. He has defense scaling abilities, as well as built-in counter set that scales off that as well. So I think this unit is going to be a powerhouse in both PvE and PvP. And in my opinion, might be better overall than the Hoyan. The Hoyan, though, is very, very cool. I think her kit is going to be amazing. Similar to characters like in other games like Epic 7. When she is reduced to, lethal damage, she kind of counterattacks, and I think she's going to nuke and hit like a truck. That does mean that I think she might be mostly PvP, maybe a little bit of potential in Doki, but I don't really know just yet. If I have a hunch, I think Hoyan will be the more well-rounded, like usable in more areas of the, or sorry, Holden will be more usable in more areas of the game, and Hoyan will be more strictly for PvP. Next up, let's see here, guys. Oh, one other important, this is huge right here. So speaking of the double banner, right? It's going to be 2 separate banners, so no worries. And remember, all the banners do carry over. So if you did pull on like the Freya banner and you didn't get her, then whatever you saved up will carry over towards either Hoyan or the Holden, whichever one you hit pity on first, right? whichever one you summon first. That'll carry over, so no worries there. However, guys, this is huge. Listen up. This does mean, though, that the Hoyan banner, for example, will replace the Freya banner, and the Holden banner will replace the Messiah banner. That means no new LD summon, unfortunately, for now. Now, while that may seem like a bad thing, because I know some of y'all were worried, or not worried, but hoping you could get like a Heinrich, maybe a Lily for most players. I think a Lily banner would be amazing for those that are still missing her. It is not that big of a deal if you're more on the free-to-play end, and I'm going to tell you why here in just a second. Let's go back to the page. I don't know if they're mentioning it here in this event section, do they? Yes, they do. So United Front, guys, will be coming out this week as well, the end of this week. And once again, I want to show you something here inside of the Etheria. Let's go ahead and head to the Union, and we can actually see the rewards. And this is really, really cool, and why I think that at least holding off on the LD banner might be a good thing for players that can't, you know, have a lot of LD summons. So if we go to the United Front and we check out the rewards, we have the overall rank rewards for, you know, just placing. You have the Union rewards here. You got some frames, but look at this. You have the victory and defeat rewards. When you win in this mode, you get both 3 regular summons as well as 1 Apex prototype. Now, these are the ones that you use on that Messiah banner, that LD summon, that Apex banner. And so this little break in between while we have the Hoyan and the Holden banners could be a nice time to save up. Make sure you're in a Union and make sure you are saving those LD summons. So that way, you know, we can start gathering that pity if we're unlucky and save those for, you know, whichever LD character we want the most. For me personally, it's Heinrich. I know some people really want Lily. And then there's also some players that, you know, like DokiDoki, and probably like Mio. Shadow Sonya, unfortunately, not the most versatile anymore, but still amazing in like Teramaton. So still pretty good. Next up, let's see what else is there in the patch notes that we need to discuss here. I think there's some random bug fixes. And the big one that was kind of a huge deal that was a little bit worrisome was, let's see if we can find it here. Right here, guys. Fix abnormal enemy buffs for DokiDoki stage and threshold. A lot of players were wondering, man, is this going to be, are they going to make the DokiDoki buff, or sorry, the DokiDoki threshold harder? Kind of like, you know, the hot fixes to things like Shadow Sonya dots not working in the, excuse me, the Aurora, where she has immunity to dots now. And then, you know, they did make Teramaton harder from beta to release as well. But good news, guys, is I have confirmed with a lot of the Xiada players, and, you know, let's see if we can go find one here so I can give y'all an example. But they did confirm that, fortunately, what that bug fix they were trying to address was actually to stop Xiada from stealing the DokiDoki buff. So the way the DokiDoki threshold works is this Doki will stand in the background and she starts buffing a lot of her mobs that stand in front of her. Apparently Xiada could steal those and make this whole entire threshold much easier, maybe even trivialize it. That is now changed, though. Let's move this around here. I am farming in the background, but let's see if we can find a Xiada clear and just talk shop about it. Good news is the Xiada players told me that it is not the biggest deal and it is still very viable. Unfortunately, there's not one on here currently in the recent clears. I don't see. Hopefully I'm not just blind and missed one. I am extremely tired right now, but Etheria's been so fun. I don't mind talking about it even more here. Is there Xiada on this page? No, not quite, guys. You'll just have to take my word for it. If you're wondering, Xiada is a very strong unit here, and you can actually slot her into the slot. Let's see if we can find one. And the Real Mocha, the typical Real Mocha team right here, where, you know, in my video example, I use Gray instead of the Kloss. Either one works, but Xiada actually works nicely into this role. You can kind of slot her in 1-for-1 for Real Mocha, and she does the job. She gets a lot of buffs from the Valerian. Just make sure you have this. If you're unaware how her kit works, you need some buffs. But even though she can't steal the DokiDoki buff now, that is in this threshold, they did fix that. She still works beautifully on full auto. It honestly didn't even come up that much. So I think it's just for those rare case scenarios where maybe players were manualing and getting away with, you know, clearing this super easily with bad gear. Who knows what it was, but overall, we've confirmed that Xiada is still great. Quick edit. I forgot to mention there's one other change. I'm just going to insert it into the video here that I forgot to tell you all about. Veronika actually was also hot fixed. If you guys look at her skill 3 and didn't know what she did before, this part where it says the duration of this effect for the Soul Ward cannot be extended was just included in this morning's update, okay? This didn't used to be here, and Soul Ward, if you didn't know, kind of gives you, let's just say, like, to make things, you know, more condensed, it's kind of like a immortality effect where you don't die while this is active. Now, what they did here, though, is there was actually, you might have heard me mention it, there was kind of like a cheese comp you could do for the most difficult content in the game, namely like Inferno thresholds, where you would stack Veronika plus units like Catchy the Guard, plus units like Mia that have extra duration on their, you know, they have buff duration increases. And then you would use like cooldown shells to kind of maximize the uptime, where we could get 100% uptime on Soul Ward on our entire team and never die. Now, right, that seems super cheesy, and it did trivialize a lot of content, and I think that is why Etheria decided to adjust her Soul Ward here, and it can no longer be extended. That being said, there actually is a Veronika being used. Shout out to Leviatra. I was talking with them recently, and Veronika in the Inferno area is very common here. Look at this, guys. It's still used, but instead of cheesing with immortality, with buff durations, now we're just using a, you know, all offensive, like double DPS comp, where Veronika will strip the immortality. That's what the Inferno boss gets here. His new ability gets immunity. So defense breaks, you know, have to get stripped. Excuse me, the immunity has to get stripped before we can land defense breaks with like the Dina. And then Veronika will actually keep our squishy DPS alive long enough for their insane damage to cleave and kill the boss. And there's also another fix for Xiada there. But yeah, overall, guys, they didn't change anything about her. The overall takeaway is we will be summoning for the Hoyan and Holden tomorrow. Hopefully they are good. My take is that I think Holden will be slightly better and more versatile, but who knows? And then additionally, don't expect those LD summons. Get in a union so you can, or sorry, the LD banner rerun after Messiah. Instead, it'll be these two banners. And you need to be in a union now to start farming those LD summons, okay? Make sure you're in a union. You can stop by my stream. Sometimes I have active spots. We have 5 guilds. They're always full, though. But the wait list, you know, if you can just tell me that you need a spot, I'll let you know, hopefully, when someone is inactive and they get removed. All right, guys, I am dead tired, but thank you so much again, everybody. If you've been watching these videos, if you've been stopping by the live streams, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.